Is the fear of money conversations sabotaging your private practice? Let's be honest. If you've come from the NHS into the private practice world, talking about money with patients may make you feel a little bit icky, may make you squirm a little bit. And that's normal. One of the reasons is it potentially feels at odds with why you came into the world of medicine in the first place, because you wanted to help people. And in the NHS, you're used to patients turning up, you look after them, rather than selling to them and convincing them that you're the best person to treat them. And maybe morally, there's a part of you that just feels it's like wrong to charge people for something that they can, in theory, get for free in the NHS. Here's the truth. Every day as a clinician, you're selling. Yep, you are. You're selling the idea a patient may need to be patient whilst you take them through a diagnostic journey. You're selling them the idea that they may need to make some lifestyle changes. Maybe they need to endure some discomfort post-surgery and go through a lengthy period of rehabilitation. And perhaps you're also negotiating with them about expectations. All of that is selling, and you do it very well. Private practice is a business, and in the private sector, the selling involves demonstrating that you can help people with your expertise, you can get them better quicker, sometimes a lot faster, and often with the continuity they're not going to get elsewhere, and sometimes even treatments they can't get on the NHS. It's not grubby, not unethical, it's purely business. If you can't talk about the value you provide, that means you can't sell to private practice patients, and you'll always be at the mercy of picking up crumbs from insurers and other referrers, and you simply can't scale that. Many of the clinicians I meet rely far too heavily on being sent patients by private medical insurers, hospitals, etc. And the problem with that is that they can literally cut you off overnight. I've seen it happen. A much better way is to be able to attract patients to you who are really looking for your care and expertise. You're not hitting them over the head with a frying pan to come through the door. They want an expert like you to help them solve a problem. Stop internally deciding what's too expensive for the patient in front of you. This one might sting a little bit. It's not up to you to decide what a patient could or should afford. The reality is you know nothing about them outside of the consulting room. Even if you think you know their financial situation, you don't know their priorities, and you don't know what getting treated quicker might mean for them and their loved ones. Let's say your patient's self-employed. Getting back to work quickly may be an easy financial decision for them. They can work and earn money. Job done. Calculator, operation cost X, lost earnings cost Y. It's easy. You're helping them to solve a financial problem in that respect. Another patient may decide that their health is worth far more to them than upgrading their kitchen. When it comes to children, that's an entirely different ballgame. Most parents just want to know that their child is going to be okay. And for them, the reassurance of a prompt consultation and an MRI scan is worth much more than that weekend away. I regularly coach private practice oncologists, and this takes on a whole new realm when it comes to charging patients with cancer, a potentially life-threatening disease, a treatment that in theory that they could get on the NHS, but not always. So let's say that you have a patient who has thyroid cancer. There are certain areas in the country at the moment where you can't easily, in a timely way, get access to radioactive iodine treatment. And very importantly, sometimes patients want to spend time with their family rather than waiting around in a clunky NHS environment, however good it may be. If having private practice treatment for their cancer means that they can keep working, that they can be nearer to loved ones, that they can get it done in a block session, they're not having to go in and out and do blood tests one day and then the chemo the next day, for them, that may well be worth the expenditure. So it's not up to you to make the decision. It's up to you to show what's possible. Making assumptions about what we think patients can afford is not only bad for private practice business, it's also deeply patronizing. Think about it. If you were a patient, you wouldn't really like it if a doctor told you how you should be spending your money. And worse still, how would you feel if you hadn't been offered a potential treatment that you knew friends and family would garner around the cash for and pay for simply because somebody thought, she can't afford it? It's difficult to get used to talking about money with patients, but it does get easier. I can remember when I first started out in private practice about 20 years ago, every now and then I'd catch myself Googling a patient's postcode to see if I thought that they could afford it if they were a self-funding patient. And it's ridiculous because the truth is it was simply me feeling uncomfortable and unskilled about having conversations about money with patients. You know how this goes. A patient comes to see you for a second opinion. They bring a bag full of MRI things that are printed out on acetate that they've got from different places. They talk through different hospital letters. They expect you to see them, examine them, and then give your opinion and possibly take on their treatment. And you try and cram it into one appointment because you think, oh gosh, they've come from Doncaster and they don't have much cash. The reality is, if you cram it into one appointment, you're likely not only to overrun and upset the next patient, but also it's not a very satisfactory consultation for the patient. Think about it. If you had to, as a patient, digest everything that was being said to you, then you've got to make a decision around, oh, do I have that test? Do I have that further test? Do I have that surgery? You've not had time to go away and think it over. That's not great. Also, there then comes the flurry of emails to you and your med sec with the patient going, can you just explain? I didn't really quite get that again. Paradoxically, the patient doesn't feel they got value for money. So it's much better to have either a longer consultation if you know this is going to happen and charge for it appropriately, or see them face to face, like everybody else, have a follow-up, which could be virtual. One sign that you may be falling into this trap is if there's a striking imbalance between the ratio of initials to follow-ups for your self-funded patients versus your insurance patient. And as my American best friend would say, gee, honey, you can still give great value without giving away the barn. Selling is simply communicating the value of what you can do to help a patient. Patients aren't buying an operation or an MRI scan. They're buying a transformation. It's not up to you to determine the value of that for the patient. Patients want recovery, reassurance, and speed. And they want to know it's going to be with one expert, that's you. It's really important that you build your own private patient pipeline and that you're not reliant on insurers and hospitals to send you patients, because anything could change going forwards. So the clinicians I work with know that they need to get serious about building a strong digital presence, that they have brand width on lots of platforms, and that they're seen as the go-to person in their sphere. So if you're feeling squeamish about selling, you need to reframe it. You're not pushing snake oil. You're actually providing the patients with something that they've researched and that they want. You're providing skill, expertise, and time in a world now when that's not always possible in the NHS. So the bottom line is, if you want to grow profitable, stable, private practice, looking after patients, the kind of people you love to care for, you need to get serious about marketing to private practice patients and growing that patient pipeline. Patients won't think less of you for charging. They'll be glad they chose to invest in their healthcare.